Yani Ibn Rajab rahimahullah, he says that when the Prophet ﷺ mentioned these 2 points, that actions will be judged based upon their intentions, and that a person's, what they will receive, the person who does that deed, what they will receive from their deeds will be based upon their intentions, good for good and evil for evil. So when the Prophet ﷺ mentioned these 2 comprehensive statements, these 2 all-inclusive principles, then he mentioned after them an example from the examples of deeds which appear on the surface to be the same, but due to the intention they are different. He gives us an example only. This is an example of a deed that 2 different people might do, or one person may do it 2 different times. It appears to be the same thing, but because of the intention of those 2 people or that person at 2 different times being different, then the deeds are different. So he gives us an example of that, and it is as though he is saying, the example of Hijrah, and it is as though he is saying that all other deeds are to be looked at in the same way as this example. Yani that every deed that a person does or that different people do that appears to be the same, yani that on the surface is the same, may be different if the intentions are different. And that's why 2 people are standing in the same line at the same time, in the same place, performing the same prayer, and they have 2 different intentions, and therefore the reward will be different. It will not be the same. And for this reason it is incumbent upon us to pay attention to our intention. Yani a person has to be conscious. They have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us success in paying attention to our intention, making sure that our intention is purely for the sake of Allah alone. Otherwise, deeds that we are doing may be useless. Or worse than that, they may be the cause of our punishment if the intention is an evil intent. Ibn Rajab rahimahullah goes on to mention, as the Shaykh is quoting from him, that the Prophet ﷺ informs us that this hijrah تختلف باختلاف النيات والمقاصد بها, that this hijrah that he gave the example of, and it's applicable to all deeds, will be different based upon the difference in intention, the difference in a person's objective or goal in performing it. So whoever, yani the difference in intention determines the difference in the deed, even though it may appear on the surface to be the same. So whoever migrated to the land of Islam, حُبًّا لِلَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, they migrated out of love for Allah and His Messenger. That's why they migrated, because they love Allah and His Messenger. Whoever migrated رَغْبَةً فِي تَعَلُّمْ دِينِ الْإِسْلام, they migrated because they have a desire to learn the deen of Islam. Because in the land of Kufr, they wasn't learning the deen of Islam. They wanted to go to a place where they can learn the deen of Islam. That was their intent. It was their desire to learn the deen of Islam. Or in order to openly display their deen, because they were restricted and confined in the land of Kufr from openly acting upon what Islam requires of us. The person who migrated for that reason, due to the fact that he was unable to do it in the land of the disbelievers, then this person is the muhajir to Allah and His Messenger in reality. And it is sufficient for him as a manifestation of honor for him. It is a sufficient honor for him that he has achieved what he intended from migrating for Allah and His Messenger. It is sufficient that this person, this is sufficient honor. If a person actually has achieved this, that in fact they are given the reward for migrating for Allah, this is sufficient for a person as a manifestation of honor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for this reason, the Prophet ﷺ, in the response to this conditional statement, whoever migrated to Allah and His Messenger, this migration to Allah and His Messenger, he said that in response to this condition, he merely repeated the original words of the condition. He didn't say anything else. He repeated these words. Whoever migrated for Allah and His Messenger, his reward will be that. It will be the reward of a person who migrated for Allah and His Messenger. He didn't have to say he will get a reward of forgiveness of his sins, entry into paradise. Rather, he merely repeated the same thing, that he would get that reward, the reward of migrating to Allah and His Messenger. And that is because the person who achieves this thing that they intended, that is migrating for Allah and His Messenger, This is nihayat al-matlub fi dunya wal-akhirah. This is the ultimate goal that any person could seek in this world and in the next. This is the ultimate goal. There's nothing else that should be mentioned here. Whoever migrates for Allah's Messenger, then the reward will be such and such and so and so. The reward will be that he will be rewarded for this tremendous act of migrating for Allah and His Messenger, and this is the ultimate goal for anyone in this world and in the next life.